Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to be telling you guys a story about how I got chased by a clown from walking home from school. Now this story happened around October 2021, so like a month, 2 months after school started, and I lived around 10 minutes walking distance from my school, so I always walk to school. And so I was just walking home as I normally do, and when I walk I have to cross this. So there's a sidewalk, and then along the sidewalk is a patch of woods. Now you don't have to go in the woods to go to my house at all. So I just walked by the woods when I heard like a weird rustling noise, and it sounded like not like a small squirrel or anything, not anything I'm used to, like a squirrel or a bird. It's just a little bit of rustling, but like with this, it was to the point where it's like, what is that? So I turned over and I saw something, and at first I was like, what is that? And then it walked closer, and I was like, oh, that's a clown. Like that was my first thought, like, oh, that's a clown. Like it was something normal. But then I was like, oh, that's a clown. That's not good. So I was then like, okay, what should I do? Um should I just keep walking? Should I ask what it wants? What should I do? So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to just start walking a little bit slowly. So if he needs anything, he can be like, hey, I need your help. And, if he said that, I of course would not go by him. But I would probably go like, okay, tell me what you need from right here. And if I need to call 911, I'll do that for you. And so the clown walked closer to me and closer until he said hello, and that's it. He just said hello, and I was like, hi. And so uh it was just straightforward hi. Like I wasn't like, hey, what are you doing? I was kind of more like trying to be nice, because I don't want to necessarily be mean to a clown that's kind of scaring me. So the clown then eventually said, do you want to see a surprise? And I said, oh no, I'm good. I gotta go babysit my sisters. Now my sisters do not get home till an hour after. And so he was like, okay, well, it will only take a second, so how about you just come look at it? I'm sure your sisters will be fine. And then he asked me how old my sisters were, and I lied, and I said they were a younger age than they actually were. I'm not going to say their age just in case they want to like come to social media. So I said a younger age than they actually were, to kind of make it seem more like they needed me to watch them. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine, for a couple minutes. Just come look at this. And I was like, no, I'm good. No, thank you. And then he was like, oh, don't be a scaredy cat. And I was like, I just gotta go. So I started walking, and he started following me. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because at this point, I was around 5 minutes away from my house. So I was like, I don't know what to do. Should I tell him to stop? Should I call the police? Should I just walk home and mind my own business? And then he started, like, he walked a little faster and started walking besides me. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. So I eventually said, hey, I said, I don't really want to see whatever the surprise is. Do you need anything else? And he was like, oh no, I'm just walking home, no big deal. And I was like, okay, because I can't say like, hey, stop following me, because I don't know what this guy's going to do to me. If I do say stop, hey, stop following me? Is he gonna like pull a knife out on me and it's like, oh, I'm gonna follow you, and if you don't let me follow you, I'm gonna use this on you. So I was like, okay. And then we walked for like another 2 minutes, and um, I was like, he kept being to the side of me, and I said, hey, where's your house at? And I know it's a kind of weird question to ask. I get that, but when a grown man is just following you and he supposedly is going into your like he's walking to his house or his neighborhood and he's following you exactly, like, it's weird because there has been like multiple houses to stop by that could have been his. So I was like, oh, hey, where do you live? Is it like a specific neighborhood? Or and he's like, oh yeah, I live in a neighborhood. And then I was like, which one? And he was like, what? And I was like, which neighborhood do you live in? And he's like, well, I don't want to tell you. And that was kind of the point where I knew that this guy did not live in a neighborhood. This guy was lying completely. Um, he was not going to his house. He was just trying to follow me. So I said, can you maybe not be so close to me? I think I'm like sick, or I think I have the flu. That's literally what I said because, or maybe I said COVID. I don't remember. I don't think I said COVID because I thought like the school wouldn't let me in if I had COVID. I don't know. I said something along the lines of I was sick. I don't remember exactly because, like I said, this was from October, nearly almost a year ago. And he was like, oh, I don't mind. I got my flu shot. Yeah, so I did say, I had the flu, I guess. So he was like, oh, I don't mind. I got my flu shot. I should be good. And I was like, oh, well, you can still get the flu. And eventually, I was walking a lot slower because I did not want this guy following me to my house. But I was about to turn, even with me walking so slowly, I was about to turn into my neighborhood. So I thought, I don't want to keep walking. I guess I'll just turn into my neighborhood. So I walked into my neighborhood and he said, oh, do you live here? And I said, yeah. Because I didn't know what to say because I already had told him that I was babysitting my sisters. So I just said yes. And he was like, oh, cool, cool. My mom actually lives here. And I was like, oh, cool. And at this point, if this guy's mom was even still alive, this guy was probably 40, so this guy's mom would probably be around 70 years old, probably. So I was like, I don't know any 70-year-olds that. I didn't say this to him, but I was thinking, I don't know a single 70-year-old that lives in my neighborhood because my neighborhood's close to the school, so it's mostly just kids that go to my school. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm actually gonna stop by and visit her. And at this point, I was like, yeah, he's following me. Now, in my neighborhood, it's split into two things, so two places where you could either turn right, and that's where my house is, or left. And my house has a lot less houses. It only has around, I don't know, I'll say 20 houses, while the other side probably has over 100. So, and there is only one old guy that lives in my neighborhood, and it's just an old guy. Or that side of the neighborhood. It's just an old guy. It's not an old lady. That would be his mom. So I knew if this guy started following me, his mom does not live there. This is all just a setup. And so when I turned, he followed me, and I told him, hey, I don't think your mom lives in this part because I know everybody that lives in this part, and I don't know a single lady that could be your mom's age. And he was like, oh, okay, do you know where she lives? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, well, her name's yada yada. I don't remember what he said, so I'll just say Carol. And he's like, oh, her name's Carol. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Check that side of the neighborhood. And so he's like, oh, you don't know where Carol lives? And I'm like, oh, Carol, yeah, I know where Carol lives. So I pointed to some random house on the opposite side of where I live. And he was like, okay, thank you. She's new to living here, and I just was trying to be certain. So it's like, yeah, okay. you're new here." And he's like, "Yeah." And so he was like, "Yeah, she's new to the neighborhood, and I'm new to visiting her at this neighborhood." Whatever he said. Um, that was not even true. And so he eventually just started to leave, like he was starting to leave, but he said bye, and I said bye, and then he started laughing like a clown, and it was so creepy. Like he was laughing like a clown would, and I was thinking, oh my gosh. So when he turned away, I just ran to my house. I put in the garage code so fast, and luckily it worked first try. And I was just so thankful when I went inside and locked the door and closed the garage. It was like such a relief. And I actually never saw the guy again. I didn't really look out my window to see. I do wish I'd had looked out my window to see like where he went, but I was just so relieved to be home that I didn't even care at that point. So yeah, that's my clown story. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, um, be sure to um, like and subscribe. And if you want more like story times, I have tons of stories I could um, tell you about. So yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye.